I feel that manhood is making the choice to cover those close to you and to cover the people and things that you care about outside of yourself.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of King Crush Thursday, the series where we highlight and uplift black men because, frankly, not too many people are doing it. My name is Val Gay, and I'm super excited about this brother today. Let's see. He is a creative, first and foremost. He's a creative who is also a former college athlete. He also has many years, almost 20 years of marketing experience as well as being an entrepreneur. His name is Mr. Mike Morrow. Hi, Mike.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. And I am so glad that you are here because your presence puts a wedge and another wedge, if you will, in yet the very myopic window of how black men are seen in the world, particularly through the media. I often say we see four, maybe five stereotypes of black men that are usually negative. But we know that there are many more narratives out there. And while what we see in the media may not always be incorrect, sometimes it is incorrect, but it is most certainly incomplete. And so our goal is ultimately to have young kings who may or may not have positive black male role models to come to this repository, see the same six questions asked by me and answered by over 200 now amazing, positive, successful black men, and hopefully find guidance there. And then for the rest of us who are neither male or even black, that we too can find guidance and hopefully open up our minds and our thoughts about who and what black men are in our society. And so I'm so glad that you are here today, and I want to get started with the first question, which is, what does manhood mean to you?
What does manhood mean to me? Um, I would say at its core, I feel like manhood is a positive way to look at the burden of carrying uh, what you need to do and what those people around you need to do. For example, I could go off and live a life by myself, with myself, only worrying about myself uh, forever, and I'll be fine. Uh, but I feel like, and excuse all the noise in the background, I do live in Philadelphia. It's a little noisy, but I feel that manhood is making the choice to cover those close to you and to cover the people and things that you care about outside of yourself. It's super easy. You get to a certain point where, again, if I only have to worry about me, I'll just be fine. Enough food for me in the fridge. My bills are paid. My car is running. Um, the things that I care about in the world are taken care of. But at some point, you start to think outside of yourself, and it's making sure even strangers uh, are taken care of in your presence, and family that needs you, uh, young kings that may need guidance. So stepping outside of yourself and really letting your character shine, I would consider that to be a manhood uh, foundation.
That's great. That's awesome. Excellent. Thank you so much. So, Mike, who and or what is important to you?
Who and or what? Completely, that's an A and Z question. I can start with saying who. Um, First and foremost, my family is very important to me. I have I don't have any children, but I have a niece and a nephew. A brother, a sister-in-law, my parents. Very important to me. But I'd be lying if I didn't say that I'm a people person. So often I take the burden of anyone close to me, or someone that calls and is in need, um, is important to me. I think I sometimes I'm out in the world and it feels like there's like a lack of humanity, and I don't know if it's survivor's remorse. I grew up in West Philly, and I didn't grow up in the best of circumstances when I was with my mother, but my father picked me up. He was a professional athlete, so it was very Fresh Prince of Bel Air situation, West Philadelphia. And then I moved out, about an hour outside of the city. And, you know, I was blessed to live a decent middle class upbringing. But coming back to the city and being around maybe some people that are less fortunate, it's really important to me uh, to always keep my antennas up on the needs of others. So that is who's important to me. Um, what's important to me? As a creative person, you spend a lot of time in your head, thinking of best case scenarios, fun and creative ways to, pull what's up here out into the world. And my passion just so happens to be wrapped around my work, which is, marketing and advertising, mostly to brands that are social. So it's like I'm out a lot. Um, I'm and I think what's important to me is seeing some of those ideas and just daydreams that I have come to fruition. It's never perfect. It's never something that, it happens exactly when or how you want it to. But the fact that, you can come up with something in your head, take the time, be meticulous about how you uh, put that together, and to watch other people enjoy something that you thought of on a walk or taking a shower. Now you're seeing other people enjoy that, and it become a milestone in their life, or even just make their day a fraction better. That's pretty important to me. So those are my two answers.
That's really great. That's awesome. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Mike, how do you want us to see you?
Uh, I spent I'm in my mid 40s. I spent a vast uh, part of my life, in all honesty, hyper aware of hyper aware of what I wanted people to think of me and how I wanted them to see me. And to be honest, um, the harder I tried to form a narrative around me, it always took a left turn. So, ironically, I'm finally at a stage in life where I don't want to say it sounds too harsh to say I don't care how people see me, because I do, but I cared too much at some point. So I'm taking some of that power back. Um, I care that people pay attention to the type of person that I am and make their own opinion. You know, and however that opinion lands, I'm fine with it. Um, you know, it just seems like those that want to be liked and seen a certain way try so hard, and it doesn't matter. It's some parts of life nobody's going to see you how you want to be seen. So I think I'm a kind person. I go above and beyond. I have my own uh, insecurities, and I have areas where I know that I shine, and I hope that people can recognize the areas that I shine and not, um, you know, draw too much negativity to the areas where I'm not so strong. And however that turns out, I have to be fine with.
Mm, I hear you. I hear you. Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
No
So,
problem.
my question four is, what is your epic dream?
My epic dream. Um, Again, I have a concept. Well, it's not my concept. It is an army term that I've read in marketing books. It's called a commander's intent. And my epic dream used to be, uh, this euphoric moment, but it's no longer that. And that probably changed about 15 years ago. I call it the commander's intent is simple. In marketing, if you're dealing with, like, let's say McDonald's, any ideas you come up with have to be food, folks, and fun. That's their North Star. So you're gonna come up with an idea for McDonald's. Make sure it's food, folks, fun. Uh, if you're working with Southwest Airlines, they're the low fare airline. I couldn't go to Southwest and say, hey, I think we should serve lobster, because after you redo the numbers, they're no longer going to be the low fare airline. And I try to do the same with my life, so I'm not always in this destination envy. You have this dream that you never really get to, and you're never actually enjoying life because of it, because you're always trying to get to some destination. So my commander's intent is called the perfect average day, and ironically, today's Tuesday. Um, I say Tuesday is a pretty average day, and I walk through that day in great detail in my head, from the time I wake up in the morning, um, getting into an old beat up pickup truck, going to the gym, coming back home, having my coffee, um, looking through this red portfolio of my day. And I could go on and on about the details of that perfect average day. And I consider every day, the closer I get to that, whether it's buying a red portfolio or um, having an old beat up pickup truck to just throw your stuff in the back and go to the gym. Uh, I figure that's my dream. So it's not so destination driven anymore. It's like I don't want the. It's not like, hey, I'm around the pool with a million Lamborghinis and champagne pouring everywhere. It's more like my most average day. Coming home, being interviewed, somebody caring enough to know what's going through my head, having a quality dinner. You know, I got I got my album, collection that I'm growing. So, putting on some good music. My epic dream is to have a really great Tuesday, and all the things, from the type of person that I'm dating or married to the type of home I've curated, just slowly but surely coming along. But the reality is, as soon as you reach the most perfect average day, which I feel like I'm living in mine from when I was, 15 years ago, it's like it's going to change. So it's like my perfect average day is slowly but surely developing into something different as I age, and I'm just allowing that. So I wish that I had a more juicy, epic dream, but it is truly my most perfect average Tuesday coming to life, which um, it has, and now it's developing into a more broad, or not a more broad, a more narrow, but um, different dream.
I love this so much. There's so much about that that I love. Thank you. That is so awesome. I really love that. I'm going to stay on
Thank you.
task. I'm going to stay on task and move to question five, which you've actually been answering all along implicitly, but I'm going to ask you explicitly. Mr. Mike Morrow, who are you?
Mm. I am I am the sum total of my experiences in this life. I'm 46. I've experienced homelessness with my mother. I've seen what drug addiction can do. I have family that have played in the NBA. Eight people in my family have played professional basketball, including myself. I am probably one of the only people in my family that have stepped out on faith and become an entrepreneur. So having had the experience, the super lows and the super highs of that, and remaining even keeled, you know, losing my mother, watching my brother, who's 11 years younger than me, raise kids that look just like him. So it's like you put all that into a bowl and you mix it up, and you taste it. That gumbo is me. So it's um, we'd be here all day, but I can tell you, highly empathetic, um, a hard worker. Uh, you know, I enjoy social life. I was talking to my family yesterday, and we've noticed that like when some people are going through a tough time mentally, they like to be alone and with themselves. And I've always found my medication in being around people. I'm inviting people over. I'm pouring the drinks. I'm, setting up the hors d'oeuvres because that's how I heal myself personally. I'm more of a social person. So just, a lot of people see me on social media and they're like, "Oh man, you know, you're living such a great life," and not realizing that if you see me out too much, I might be trying to heal. You're taking it as, "Oh, he's Mr. Fun Time," and I'm actually like in need of, people energy. So, who I am is the sum total of all those things. 46 years of just like figuring things out. And I'm like a Swiss Army knife in that regard. I'm really good. My first job was I worked at my brother's daycare. It's like I'm ironically really good with kids for somebody that doesn't have children. Um, you know, I played basketball and I played professionally. So when I go to a court in North Philly, and I can break through to young men a little bit differently because I can get busy still. So they're more willing to listen to me because I've clearly done something that they're all aspiring to do. So it's like a much different scenario than most kids in this neighborhood. So I enjoy that. I have had to figure out so many things as a solutions driven person. So it's like I never, I'm much like my dad, I'm even keeled. You're never going to catch me too high up or too low because the reality is things work themselves out almost every time. Um, so it sounds like a high level answer, but I am really the sum total of all. I'm very aware of the things that have happened for me, to me, in my life, and those things actually like scream out when it comes to dealing with other people.
Hmm. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that rich answer. This is really beautiful. Thank you. So here we are already at question six, which is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you, or you wanted me to ask you that I didn't? In other words, what did I miss?
Terrible at this job that you're doing because I would not be able to interview myself. Um, the question. So I don't have a question. I don't think you missed anything. Um, you know, when I was younger, there's a guy in Philly. His name's Sonny Hill who ran a basketball camp at a or league at Temple during the summer, and my dad has you know uh, almost 70 now, has played in that league and is a legend in that league. And one day I talked to Mr. Hill and was like, hey, my name's Mike Morrow. Do you know my dad? He rattled off all these like beautiful compliments and things that I didn't even know about my dad. And I went home and was like, Dad, why didn't you tell me that you have this record or that you did this and you did that? And his answer was because talkers talk and doers do, meaning I'm not going to have to brag on myself. I did the work. I kept my head down. I don't ask for praise. And when you go out in the world and you operate like that, other people will speak highly of you for you. And, I didn't have to ask him the questions because, he did the right things. And when I went out into the world, people told me, so I couldn't give you a question because I wouldn't even know where to start. But I hope that somebody in the world that has experienced time with me would just say kind things and will give you all the answers that you need. But I wouldn't know what to ask about me.
What an amazing answer. Thank you. Thank you so much about that. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, I knew Mr. Hill. I remember the first time he and I talked on the phone about something. I worked at Temple University at the time, and I think someone gave him my phone number and he called me. And I was like, I remember standing up when I
The
heard when I heard his voice, and he said, you
ultimate
know,
respect. Yeah.
yes, yes, it was just really, really wonderful. There's so much again to say. It was a beautiful interview. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for your presence in the world. I love so many things that you said. I love, what did you say? Ironically, I'm really good with children, even though I don't have any. And so I love that, and the idea that you can recognize that you can break through, if you will, to young kings because you are doing the do, right? And you have the goods, which is so great. So, for all the things that you do and that you are, I just honor you, my king. And
Thank you.
epic day is so, your epic dream is such a wonderfully aspirational yet tangible dream is really amazing how it's both aspirational, like wow, wouldn't that be cool one day, and it's right here in front of you. I think that's really powerful. So I hope that you get to live your epic dream sooner rather than later on a
Exactly.
regular basis, which is wonderful.
And thank you for doing this work. I mean, this is you said it up front. I've never been interviewed in this way, and I do appreciate the um the thought around your questions and your mission. And I really do wish that we had done this years ago, like we tried. But at the same time, it happened when it's supposed to happen. So I definitely appreciate you and amazing work that you're doing. And hopefully, at some point, we'll be able to collab on something like this on an experience base, so we can bring it offline and put it in a room because that's what I do best.
Oh, well, I love that. I love that very much. And, thank you. I thank you for your patience. And, when you do something once a week, it time really extends. And I often say there are no wrong or right answers. They're your answers right now, right? I could ask you the same six questions tomorrow or next week, and you may have a whole different set of um,
Hmm.
answers, right? And similarly, around the time, like the time was now. So I'm so grateful that you've done it now. And, you know, well, first of all, just stay right there. Thank you. Stay right there because I want to thank the audience for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. And if there's a positive and successful Black man in your life who you want to hear from and see highlighted in this forum, please click the link below or in my bio, fill out the nomination form, and we'll take it from there. That's actually how we met Mike through this forum, is because someone else actually nominated him. So I'm so grateful. I often say success in my mind does not equal what a man does for a living. It's not always a true measure of a man's character. I have two caveats. As long as what he's doing is legal and not hurting anybody, I don't care. But what I really do care about is the content of their character. And are they making a positive impact on the community around them, starting with the nuclear family and radiating out writ large to the rest of us? Those are the brothers that we really do want to hear from and highlight in this forum, because our world needs to see more brothers like Mike Morrow in this world. And so please stay tuned next week for yet another amazing king. And please remember to spread love and have a great day. Thank you so much. And Mike, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Until next time.
Yes.